Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the hilarity and chaos of family gatherings. Watching his daughter work so diligently, Frank felt a blast from the past, seeing little Amy again. But Amy looked a bit surprised by her dad's visit, with a hint of a mysterious frown. When Frank asked about her husband Jeff, Amy's expression changed faster than a cat caught in the cookie jar. She nervously fiddled with her phone, knowing her dad isn't a big fan of flying. Frank couldn't believe his dad took a bus to Chicago. Seeing Jack, she eagerly sent him out golfing with Grandpa. Jack's golf swing is a natural talent, winning hearts. Yet Frank acts stubborn in front of his grandson. Grandpa-grandson duo chatted happily, while Amy was busy at home, seemingly hiding something. Frank wondered about Jack's grades. Surprisingly, Jack's grades weren't as disastrous as Amy claimed. Still, at dinner, Jeff rushed in like he missed, but whenever it came to the chopsticks used in Chinese cuisine, Frank still seemed utterly confused, and at such times, Amy thoughtfully handed him a fork to gracefully save her dad from embarrassment. At this moment, Amy requested Jeff to hand the hot sauce over to Jeff, yet Jack, behaving like a mischievous little rocket, deliberately defied his father, resulting in the harmonious dining table being instantly filled with tension, transforming it into a battlefield. This scene left Amy red as a tomato. She inquired about her dad's travel plans, and Frank was like, "I'm staying here a day or two, then off to see Robert." But Amy was like, "Yikes. I'm swamped." She had no time for Dad. Jeff was leaving Jack had camp. Their schedules were so packed, no time for Frank. Frank knew the kid's struggles, but didn't confront Amy. Instead, he suggested going to Robert City tomorrow, and Amy's mind raced. But he was like, "No way, we're surprising Robert." Though Amy agreed, all siblings' phone lines lit up that night. Big brother David was in some big trouble in Mexico, and the siblings were all in the loop, no need to make Dad worry. The next morning, Frank took a family photo at the villa to be the new trendsetter on social media. But Jack refused to be in the picture with Dad. Even though everyone faked smiles, Frank felt a twinge of heartache. As Amy showed Dad around the office, Frank was relentless, snapping pics like a tireless photographer for her work. He bumped into a couple of young creatives brainstorming an ad, and Frank felt like a professional himself. He was all smiles. He calmly smiled, thinking, "Look at me, the superstar." At the station, Amy was running around like a headless chicken, sweetly grabbing a coffee for Dad when she ran into her colleague Tom. She casually introduced Tom to her dad, even inviting him to join for coffee, and Frank smirked, feeling like the proud dad. Frank had actually already prepared several letters, intending to slip in some words of advice during the break while the kids were having breakfast, while reflecting silently in his heart, "Kids, this is what life truly looks like." After saying goodbye to Amy, Frank was off to his next pit stop, Denver, where he heard his youngest son Robert was becoming quite the star. Along the way, Frank soaked in the scenery and captured those delightful moments, feeling like every child was his little seed flourishing. Flowers bloom at varying speeds. Like his kids, some bloom fast, others snooze. In Denver, Frank saw band posters everywhere and excitedly asked passers-by for photos so kid-like. After much inquiry, Frank found Robert's venue, but it was far from what he pictured. Robert claimed to be a conductor, yet Frank's son stood by the drums bashing away. This surprised Frank, who felt a twitch of disappointment, while Robert was taken aback by Dad's sudden drop in. It turns out he was just hanging out with percussion. After rehearsal, they chatted openly. Robert never called himself a conductor, and Frank seldom asked about his kids lately. It turned out his late wife had filled him in, and Robert had been passionate about percussion since childhood, happily drumming away without a care. Robert, as the drummer of the band, could perform with them and earn quite a good income while enjoying the experience, and whenever he mentioned it, Frank would feel a slight unease in his heart. He hoped his son would continue his studies and expressed his willingness to assist with the costs. However, Robert decisively rejected the offer, which powerfully demonstrated that not every child is destined to shine and become outstanding. Perhaps freedom and a carefree spirit might be the true essence of happiness. Frank planned to stay for his son's gig, but Robert's next was in Europe, a hotel tour. Robert was too busy with training and had no time for Dad, and after years of drifting, he hadn't even found a steady girlfriend. This was a little concerning for Frank, as he thought how difficult it was. The whole family undertaking this journey was truly a heart-wrenching and tear-jerking sight. Amy will call you, but if she forgets, just ring her back so you guys stay connected. I will, Frank replied. Are you happy? Absolutely. I get to enjoy life every day in the rhythm of the drums. As he left, Frank asked the same old question, just checking if Robert was truly happy as far as Frank was concerned. His son would always. Frank didn't hand the cash directly to Robert, but left it discreetly in the drum at the studio, sharing a hint in his own way. After Dad left, Robert called to tell Rosie that Dad would arrive at the next stop around 10, then resumed his adventures. Nearby the station, Frank noticed a missing person notice surrounded by flowers, thinking about David. He dialed, but no one picked up. That night, Frank planned to hop a ride to Las Vegas, but missed the last bus due to time zones. Left with no choice, he pressed on to his next stop and encountered a homeless man in the tunnel who bore a striking resemblance to David. So Frank generously offered some change, only for the guy to stomp on his meds, talk about a thank you gone wrong. With no other options, Frank resorted to listening to his wife's recorded voice to soothe his nerves. And thanks to a kind lady driver, Frank finally reached the next train station. This whole journey felt less like a smooth sailing expedition and more like a clumsy adventure. In a daze, he dreamt about his eldest son, David, who worried him the most. When morning broke, little Rosie still hadn't picked up Dad's call.